Hi guys, today we have with us Aditya Singh, who is the director of Athena MBA School. So sir, today's main agenda was consulting. It's a very informal interview about consulting, what kind of profiles are over for there.
Sure.
So you're not sitting here in the capacity of a director today.
I'm sitting like this, I cannot be in the capacity of a director as it is.
So we are sitting in our lounge. This is the Dadar Center lounge. And sir, basically my main is about consulting because I worked in consulting, you have worked in consulting.
Correct.
So I personally feel the most sought out profile after MBA is consulting, unless you are very much focused on finance and all. So the main discussion will revolve around that. So I would like you to start with what was your profile as a consultant after your MBA?
Alright, so I did my MBA from SP Jain way back, more than a decade and a half ago.
He's quite old as compared to me, so I'm very young.
Yes, you can see the grey hair over here. And then of course after that I moved into consulting. I had the good fortune of working with IBM, with the Tatas. And then obviously when you go into consulting per se, the best thing about it is you work with so many different organizations and different levels and different verticals and across the country. And if you're really lucky in these days of globalization, across the world. And yes, you are advising people at different levels also, and you're advising them on different clarities and different situations. So you learn completely about businesses when you're a consultant. It's not about only one facet of a business. You actually learn how entire businesses work, how entire sectors work, how entire companies work, and actually if you see, you learn how the economy works. In fact, if you see all the great business leaders, many of them have the initial first couple of years in consulting. A lot of industrialists also make sure that the children, when they finish, once they finish their MBA from a good business school, they enter a consulting firm. Because that's what gives them that 360-degree overview of how big business works.
Great. And sir, you worked in India. Your consulting assignments were all based in India.
Yes, mostly.
My consulting assignments were all based abroad. So we can talk about both sides of the world. So if you would like to start with any of the consulting assignment, really don't name the company if there's an NDA signed. Just as a profile.
So I'll talk about, I had a very interesting assignment. I was just maybe a couple of years out of B school, and you would think you own the world at that time. And it was with a company which was entering a very big conglomerate, which was entering the financial services field. And they were looking at entering the insurance space. All right. This is the time, it was just after insurance was opened up in India. So till then you only had LIC of India.
Right.
Now, how do you advise them? And remember, you're maybe 23, 24 years old, 2 years out of B school. And the idea was to make them create a proper pitch that entering life insurance is going to be the right decision for them, and they have to go and pitch that to the head of the conglomerate so that he can release 500 to 1,000 crores for the next 4 to 5 years for the business. All right. So, and there's not too much of data to go about because remember, private players are not too much in the market. So that was a lot of pain and so much of learning. So you actually had to go grounds up, deal right down with the insurance agent, the person who wants the insurance, right up to underwriters, to the IRDA, all of them. And at the end of it, you have to create from data but also extrapolate and give a reasonable chance of success to the project and then present it. Phenomenal learning. It took away maybe about a year and a half to 2 years of my life, but at the end of it, I can tell you, I knew how one has to start a business in the financial services world inside out. And perhaps today, I'm sitting here and giving an interview to you because of those 1.5 to 2 years which I spent over there completely.
And that was 2 years assignment. This assignment for 2 years.
It was originally supposed to be a 12-month assignment, extended by another 6 months. I finally extended by another 6 months to 24-month assignment.
Oh, great.
Typically how consulting also works many times is, if you're someone who's come with a good business idea, they rehire you as a consultant to make sure that the initial implementation and execution also is done by you. So you own a bit more of that entire process.
Great. And in fact, I personally base my level of a college with the number of people who got placed in consulting.
Correct.
For example, IIMs, all the top IIMs have 20% batch being placed in consulting. So if I talk about IIM Ahmedabad, out of 400 batch size, 20%, 80 people got a job abroad, which is consulting. So shows it's a good college.
True.
IT Bombay, Jamal Bajaj, all around 15% batch which is placed in consulting.
Correct.
And sir, what about your college? What is your target consulting?
So this year we are looking at 10% of the batch getting into consulting. Okay. And I mean proper consulting, not that naam ka consulting, which is everything. It's core consulting. We're going to work with companies in different verticals, in different platforms, perhaps in different zones also, and work out different strategies. So actual core consulting, we're looking at 10% of the batch getting into that. And that, like you correctly said, is how the entire valuation works completely, because that is how you actually understand how companies. So if a business school is good, it's going to have a lot of people who are going to go into consulting. Always remember that. In fact, if you see the global rankings, when you see a Harvard, a Wharton, or a Stanford, you'll always see that they always, compete to see how many of the people got into consulting. And that's how they actually say, okay, how good it is. So of course nowadays have Chicago Booth, for example, that also come up because of consulting as a practice where people get placed.
Great. So my biggest high point of my career in JB was, I did MBA from JBIMS, those who don't know. Though,
everyone knows, but still.
Because we don't know kaun dikh raha hai, video dikh raha hai. So the biggest turning point was Cognizant Consulting came to campus. They just initiated a branch called CBC Consulting. So we were hired for CBC Consulting, and they asked me which branch you want, which area you want to work for, and which country you want to work for. यार मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर के लिए ये चीज़ बोलना मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात थी. Then I chose US and retail. That was my area of forte interest also. And this is what I told them. And when I got the joining, I got UK and life science. But जो मांगा वो तो मिला ही नहीं. Life science, I have no idea what the clinical research and all. So, but they changed the thing. See, that's the advantage of working with a foreign company, that they will tell you which project you want to work. They'll ask you, give you a choice. So the first assignment which I got was in HR. And 2 years of my MBA, I hated HR people. Because I never got a promotion in my company, and that's why I always hated HR people. So first assignment was into HR, and I said, no, I can't do that thing. And then my Indian boss told me, yaar, the work is in Germany. The project was in Germany. So we have to downsize the company from 120 employees to 80 employees. We can't speak German, they don't speak English. And you have to interact with them. There's a small town called Dortmund. The big football team as well. They have a football team. So I worked there for 2 weeks. That was my turning point. Then I worked in London. I was based in UK. So मैंने अपने पैर पे खुद कुल्हाड़ी मारा. Traveling from India is a beautiful thing. You are paid for company accommodation, everything is paid for. But when you ask for a shift to there, because you get a NRI status, and being a Punjabi NRI status, हम घर के बाहर लिखते हैं NRI, नाम बाद में लिखते हैं, NRI पहले लिखते हैं. So I moved abroad, and then they gave me accommodation for 15 days, and they said, now you have to look for your own house. That day I realized, oh shit, what living in London is what hell it is, and then work, pressure, everything. So I enjoyed a lot. But so coming to the assignments which I did, I worked for Lloyds Bank. I got into merger acquisition. So all my life, 3 years I worked there, was into M&A. So coming back to the same thing now, consulting point of view, sir, what is the future of a consultant? I have a very bad this thing, very bad future consultant. आप पहले अपना बोलो, then I'll share my experience.
So I think the future of consulting is phenomenal, and as a consultant it's great, but you have to get some of your fundas very, very clear. We always assume that consultant is core strategic consulting. It's not that. Consulting has very different verticals to it. So yes, you have core consulting, which is strategic consulting. So you have the BCGs, the McKinseys, the Bain and companies, alright. Then you have companies which are transaction advisory consultants, F&A consultants, financial. So basically you got the big four, which is there. It's Ernst & Young, you have PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte and KPMG. Then you have very niche consulting firms also, which will do something as interesting as HR. Now, believe it or not, HR core consulting is huge. So you have you have an Aon Hewitt who is there, for example. These are all core HR consulting firms. Then you have micro niche consulting firm which will only do one particular vertical of consulting which is there. Then you have the Bristlecones of the world which do consulting. Alright. Now of course the big daddies of the global outsourcing world. So Accenture and Capgemini and Cognizant for that matter also do consulting. So consulting is a big ocean. And when you dive into it, you got to decide which is the side you want to swim. Be very clear that the first couple of years, nobody is going to give you that choice where you have to swim. You bloody well go where you're told to go.
Right.
But what happens is, after those 2 years, you understand, acha, mere ye skill set hai. So maybe I'm better at swimming freestyle, or a backstroke, or a breaststroke, or a butterfly stroke. Then you choose your style, and then you start moving from that direction itself. Couple of very, very major things. Consulting for a lot of people is a young person's game. Remember, you are living out of your suitcase. Correct, sir? Say with you. Excuse me. You're going to be
2012-13, 2 साल मैंने पूरा I clocked 200 hours in a hotel room and 165 hours on my bedroom. That's life. You can still find a toothbrush in my bag. Traveling that much, that I used to carry a toothbrush in my bag.
You can know a person has been from consulting by he's very at how he carries back. He'll always have a change of undergarments for the day. He will have his shaving kit always packed, alright, and he will have, most important, a mobile phone charger and a laptop charger always in the bag with a universal adapter. Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You may be told by a boss, "Acha tu idhar ja, tu udhar ja." Number 2 is, remember that you're dealing with companies and organizations which will be so diverse. So one day you may be working with a financial services company. Tomorrow you may be working with the engineering company, third a media company, and in different verticals, maybe core, maybe marketing side, maybe strategy side, maybe finance. And that's what helps you understand how the world of business works. That's the biggest thing which a lot of people learn from consulting, how the world of business works. But yes, be ready to travel, be ready to learn, and be ready, most important, to be humble. You're not going to be a CEO, you're working with companies. Remember that, very, very important.
So I'd like to give my example here. What happened, we got an assignment for, we have to make a test, we have to make a roadmap for the testing of a software. Okay. And I have zero knowledge about the software testing and all. I worked in IT company earlier, but that's a different issue. So I don't know what to do. But the project is in Amsterdam. 3 weeks assignment in Amsterdam. All expensive paid trip for to Amsterdam. तो अभी ना कैसे बोलेगा ऊपर तो इंडियन जाना तो है ही Amsterdam. So I said yes to the project. So they gave me 1 week of time to learn everything. So I believe in the starting of the career. Achha, first of all, anyone can enter consulting. ऐसा नहीं कि you have to be marketing or finance or HR, like sir told.
True.
There's a consulting company for everybody. There are few companies which will take anybody. Like if you're in Ahmedabad, SPJN, JB, all the top brand colleges, then they're hiring you because you're in that college, not because of your skill set. Yeah, see, domain consulting is different. Like you are a financial domain consultant. For that, you need minimum 10 years of work ex.
Correct.
To get to domain consulting. अभी जो management consulting, I personally feel in layman terms, you are a white collar job employee. कि तुम टाइल लगा के आ जाओ, तुम्हें कोई भी assignment देंगे. I worked in HR project. I worked in a testing project. I worked with banking for 2 years. I hated finance, but I have to work in a bank. Last में आके I got a retail का project towards the end of my career. And so this is a way. So it's a very exciting career. Future is good. तो कुछ भी करो, marketing, finance, operation. My experience with consulting companies at campuses when they come is they're looking for two. Either they're looking for topper, or they're looking for a people with a very diverse background. You have done projects, profile is strong basically.
Absolutely.
So there are two things which they're looking for. Either you're a topper.
So, if I may just take a cue from that. So, as he mentioned, I'm a director of the Athena School of Management, where it's a very exclusive business school in Bombay. And one of the major reasons, strong points is a lot of us who are behind it are people who are from consulting. So we decided at that time that you have to be able to give exposure to management students on how different fields work. That's what we do. So you have an internship in every semester. 4 months in class learning and then 2 months you're interning in a company full time.
Okay.
And over every semester, so what happens, you do in different companies and different verticals. By the time you finish your program, you have about 6 to 7 months of exposure in different verticals in different companies. Then when a consulting company interviews you, says, हाँ ये बंदा जो है, he has a diverse skill set, a diverse knowledge set, and most important, he or she can adapt to different organizations and cultures. And that, my dear friends, is the biggest thing for a consultant. You have to be able to adapt because you're going to be dealing with different people, different situations, and different organizations. That's critical. That's what we actually focus on. Hence, a lot of focus on multiple internships, number one. And of course, as far as possible, international alliances. So obviously, you go all over the world now. We got the top business schools alliances. We got it with Mannheim in Germany. We got it with Babson in the US, Nanyang in Singapore. And very, very important, give exposure by having the best possible people teaching you. So at Athena, for example, most of the faculty are people from the corporate sector. So they give you real world knowledge about what's happening in the corporate world. Dunyadari sikhate hain. So it's not about pen and paper. And
This
that's
is
important.
a very good point. For example, at JB, we have only one internship. Every college have one internship. So I did 4 live assignments, live projects because I wanted to learn more. And after coming with work experience B school, mainly वो book पढ़ना was not the main thing because I don't think I can learn anything from the book. यार 4 साल जीरे में नहीं सीखा तो यहाँ पे तुम क्या सीखोगे?
Absolutely.
So then I did live projects. I think that helped me get into the consulting firm. Okay, now there are some myths as well about the consulting. We are now talking the bad side of the consulting side. Number one, people think about the consulting means advisory. From day one, you are advising the CEO of the company and all things. You are sitting with them. That's a myth. For the first at least 5 years, I believe, you will be at the operational level or at the implementation level. A senior person will come once. He will talk to the senior people, do the deal and everything, and then you have to implement that. और implement करना सबसे घटिया काम because on paper everything sounds good. Giving assignment on paper is good, but when you really implement, then you understand that this is not the way it can work. So
as they say in the corporate world, and I'm sorry if I'm using an expletive, but they say shit always flows downhill. That's very, very important for you to remember. And you are the most downhill person when you start in consulting. You are going to be the person who's executing stuff. You're the person who's going to be implementing stuff, which means the buck starts and stops on your shoulders completely. All right. So don't think consulting is about sitting in a nice swanky AC office with a glass tower, going to the coffee machine and giving your gyan, like sir said. It's not that. It is about your boss having given the gyan and then you making sure that the gyan is implemented and it actually works out. But if it doesn't, then your entire company will get jacked by the client. All right. So it is really literally what we're doing now. It's about rolling up your sleeves. All right.
White collar job.
Absolutely. And at that time, you take out your tie completely and make sure you do what you have committed to do and go above and beyond. And the person who has to be the most happy has to be your boss.
Yes.
So अगर client खुश तो boss खुश. Boss खुश तो तुम्हारी career ऊपर जाएगी. So remember that is very important in consulting.
No, that is very important. And average salaries are very good, yaar. If you talk about the profile, the most paid people are the consultants. I normally joke around consultant कि वो तुमसे they will take the watch from you and show the time.
Absolutely.
So you have to be smart. You have to, you should know how to sell yourself and your company to the client. That's the most important aspect you need to have. And average salary today is around 25 to 30 lakhs per month. Divya Bhani, one of our students, got through McKinsey, 36 lakh ka package. Tejal, Accenture Consulting, sorry, PPO आया नहीं है. If touchwood the PPO comes, will be around 30 lakhs. So 25 to 30, at the age of 22, 23, 24, you're earning a package of 30 lakhs. That's what consulting is all about. So that's obviously the main thing which attract. Now again, coming to the negative side of consulting is advantage, you have to travel a lot. I've been to 16 countries. See, 16 countries ऐसे हो गया because Europe is very small. You take a 1 hour flight, you're in a third country, not even second country. Within 1 hour flight. Take a train ride, 3 hours train ride from London to Amsterdam with a 6 hours train ride, and you are going through 4 countries.
True.
England, Belgium, France
and Netherlands.
And then Netherlands.
Correct.
तो 4 country घूम लिया तुम्हारे 6 घंटे के अंदर. ठीक है. My stop, I got down in Germany. I got on last stop. Next stop is in Switzerland. So you are one stop away from the new country altogether. So that's why you tend to move around more. I think Greece and Italy मेरा छूट गया था. Otherwise I've covered all the Europe का all the countries as a part of my assignments.
It's okay, Greece छूट गया. Greece की ऐसी भी हालत अभी खराब है.
अब ना सर उस समय तो अच्छा था ना.
अच्छा हाँ.
That time was good. And so that's a good side. Bad side, because you travel so much, it affects your family life and your health. Yeah, yes. I love to eat pizza outside, but you can't eat pizza every day. And you have to eat outside. And ठंडा खाना, England वहाँ पर Europe का खाना is cold food.
And it's bland. Except in Southern Europe, Northern Europe food is very bland.
तो वो sauce डाल के हम कर लेते जुगाड़. But how can you have cold lunch, cold dinner every time? Like as an Indian, we are used to hot food.
Absolutely.
Then we look for an Indian restaurant to eat.
Which half the time is done by Bangladeshis, by the way.
Half of them Pakistani Bangladeshi.
It's called Indian, but it's not Indian. And when they say roti, they mean naan. Be very clear on that also.
But that's another different enjoyment. But it affects your personal life. All my seniors were either divorced or never married or having extramarital affair, because you are in another part of the world for 6 months, 3 months. So I couldn't work in that environment for more than 3 years. I quit myself because I want to start my own company as well. What was your reason to quit? You want to start something else, or?
Well, to be very honest, I think it's quite similar to yours. I mean, you're always, I don't know, living out of the suitcase, and then when you build up a knowledge, the beautiful thing about consulting is you build knowledge, right? You have all that. Now, if a lot of us, being Indians, we are very entrepreneurial in nature. You want to implement that knowledge somewhere else. So the studies which we do, it's not about taking notes. It's about debates, discussions, case studies, multiple hats as you wear, assignment presentations, role plays. That's actually what enables a student to actually become someone who can start taking his or her decision. Because the one thing Ramit and me and both have learned in consulting, especially, is the world is completely changing. आज जो सही है ना, वो एक गलत हो जाती है, परसों फिर से वही सही हो जाती है. So if you are not able to take decisions, handle situations, you don't stand a chance in today's world. That's what we believe definitely on.
Exactly, great. So suppose you are right now getting into college on the first year of the MBA, you target first of all find out which all companies are coming to campus. And trust me, all the top brands are only going to the top B schools. IIMS, SPJ, JB, all the McKinsey, BCG, they're not going to go any college beyond that. So if you're in Sydenham, Somaya, I'm sorry, there's no consulting company coming to campus. GEP is the only company which comes to campus in Somaya and Sydenham College. But they do a combined interview, that's what I feel.
GP Global Sourcing wala jo hai.
GP.
हमारे पास भी है.
आपके हो गया था हाँ तो they are common to everyone. That's fine. So, it's a pool interview. They take a pool interview for everybody.
So GP comes.
GP is a pool interview. They invite every B school in Bombay to come together and take interview. So so you have to be top brand B school. So suppose you're in JB or SP Gen or IM, then you have to think about that where you want to target and learn everything. I hated finance and HR during my life. So marketing and operation was my area and operation was easy for us because engineering, as an engineer, I knew everything about operation. So it helped me to get into consulting. So you have to be expert in one area. Become expert in any one area, marketing, finance, operation, HR, IT, wherever you want to work in. And you have a very good chance to convert consulting. If an IM's 20% of batch is going to be into consulting. So if you're okay for that kind of future career, but this is what I've seen. Most of the consultants move out of within 5 years of their consulting area.
You know, if I may give an input, so, you know, and if I may, this is a before and after story. I started, of course, when I did my MBA from SPGen, and then obviously there was consulting which was there. And then after a few years, I did my advanced management course from the Wharton School. And obviously a lot of my classmates were their batchmates, so people who were from consulting. Their entire outlook, their entire expertise is very different from a fresher management consultant.
True.
So you see a very big different level with someone with say about 10 or 15 years of experience who's in consulting and someone who is a fresher in consulting. So you have to be very clear that. So don't peg yourself and benchmark yourself to someone who's a 15-year-old experience then a consultant. Because their KRAs, their entire thing is very different from you. They're, like he said, they're domain specialists. Mm-hmm. You on the other hand are going to be a management consultant who has gone in from a campus intake. So your entire deliverables and your expectations have to be at a different notch completely.
Right. So you have to wait for 5 years before you start actually giving advisory to the various.
Absolutely.
Minimum 5 years. Okay, now coming to the next note, which I wanted to talk about from a consulting point of view. We talked about your wife as well. You were talking about Ernst & Young and then...
So I was very lucky. My wife actually has had the good fortune of working. She was with Accenture. I'm not naming names over here, so don't ask me officially, obviously. And then obviously she had an offer from Ernst & Young also. In Accenture, of course, she was working with the team which was into global pricing and solutions. So you were working in cross-functional teams across Turkey, Europe, South America. It's horrible, and that's why I know it works from because you're sleeping at 11 o'clock and the better half over there is working on an entire company. Why got this commitment to do? Why? Because it's different time zones completely. And then, of course, when she went to EY also, there was a clear-cut company. Like, listen, if you're going to come here, be very clear that there is nothing called family life. You are going to be 70% of the time, they're very clear, 70% of the time you are going to be traveling. It is mandated in your JD, not verbally. JD mein likha hai, bhai, 70% आपके time over here, you will be traveling. So you have to be very, very okay with that. If that lifestyle suits you, then please go into consulting. There's nothing like it. Alright? But if that life does not suit you, and you know, for many of us in India, given the Indian social context, maybe in 10 years'
desk
time,
job and they just want to go home in the morning, come back to kids.
Then bhai tumse na ho paega. It's very, very clear completely. So then you have to look at other options. So again, like we discussed, a particular profile of a job, a particular career path may be okay and fantastic for you at a particular time in your career. But as you keep evolving, as you keep growing, maybe that may not make sense. Now that decision neither Ravneet can take, neither I can take, only you can take at that time. But have all these inputs ready when you do it.
But sir, I feel now traveling is mandatory everywhere. Even for finance and marketing also people are traveling.
वो तो सर आज तो वही सीधी बात है. When a company is paying you insane amount of money, it's going to make you do insane amount of work.
Exactly.
It's it's always works that way. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Hey, अभी तुम्हारी उम्र भी है यार. You are 23, 24. The person who is listening to the video audience is 23, 24.
भाई अगर अभी काम नहीं करोगे तो कब काम करोगे?
अभी सर हमारे 30 के ऊपर है तो सर को भी तो
यार अपने एज बता दिया सबको यार.
तो yeah, you have to decide that. But one thing for sure, if you work with a consulting for 3 to 5 years, you have a very bright future. Okay, you move out into something which is much bigger than what you are doing there. That's one advantage. And all the poster boys of the Indian consulting, Rajat Gupta,
the man.
Don't Google him right now. He's not doing that great right now. But ISB.
The Indian School of Business, the man behind it has been Rajat Gupta. right from meeting the who's who in political India to having it set up was Rajat Gupta's brainwave.
उसने हिला दिया पूरा. He literally shaked up the Indian B-School industry.
ABC is great, but ISB is still ISB. So, and I'm saying ISB. Don't confuse anything with something else. All right. So very, very important.
ISB आने के बाद now ABC have opened up for a 1 year MBA.
They've had to. Otherwise, because it's survival of the fittest. Either you evolve or you die. Simple as that.
Suddenly ISB was the international ranking. ABC was ranked among Asia and India.
Correct.
ISB suddenly overnight within 5 years was ranked. So Rajat Gupta. Then I'm Ahmedabad head ex-director. Ashish Nanda. He was a consultant in Harvard. So all of them are even Raghuram Rajan was a consultant with I think Goldman Sachs.
Yes, I think so.
I don't remember that, but I think Goldman. Please Google it out. You will find it out. So all of them have been consultant in their life and then made it onto big in their life.
Statutory disclaimer: whatever we are saying over here, please go and Google it out.
Yeah, for the exact knowledge.
Statutory disclaimer लगा दिया हमने already.
So that maybe we are wrong.
हो सकता है.
Things changes. Yeah, maybe they.
Absolutely.
So I think we had a very good discussion. So you work hard for that. You have to work hard. ऐसा नहीं कि B school में आ गया तो you will get a job for sure in consulting. Right. You have to be smart. You have to talk well. You have to be very articulate. So thank you very much for watching this video, sir. Thank you very much for coming to us and talking for informally.
Before that, thank you for some amazing cold coffee. Really,
Dadar cold coffee is always good.
Dadar cold coffee is amazing. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense completely. So as I say, cheers, all right, and pleasure, and hopefully a lot of you go into consulting. Go make lots of money. That's very, very important.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Thanks, sir. Bye.